Well, not even just his disciples. He's going to have all his homies following Christianity in general.
So what you're saying is the world versus the crow, because that's kind of unfair.
Not the world, a good portion of the world, but the real devout followers. Like all the Vatican is going to be like his generals.
What the fuck's the Pope going to do? Get him! He's going to literally like...
I mean, I don't know the crow's powers though. Is he going to take a lot of his energy, knocking down all these old men on the way?
Well, first of all, the crow...
Grabbing all the little boys out of their hands and stuff, you know.
North Korea!
Babyface and the Goth.
I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.
So, the thing I wanted to ask you then, which I thought could be a good little ongoing thing we can do in this, a new little segment, I guess, would be a good thing. A segment. Who would win in a fight?
Oh, good lord.
And I thought, we'll start off with the first one. I was trying to rack my brain as to who to start off with. I thought, I'll start it this time, and you could maybe come up with it next time, and we'll just go through it. But, first of all, who would win in a fight between Jesus and the crow?
Isn't the crow like the undead mind goth dude?
Yeah, but
Brandon Lee's played him for a while.
hence why I would need your knowledge on this, because I don't really know anything about what he does. I only heard it in something recently, and they were talking about his powers, and I was like, I didn't know he had all these powers.
Are you talking like full power mode Jesus? Like, are we talking like the Son of God? You know,
Well,
resurrection and everything.
This is the debate, isn't it? This is what we need to work out.
Well, are we talking Jesus the man before he was the prophet? Are we talking Jesus the God? Well, the third of God? Christianity is confusing.
Does his power level, or I don't know,
Well,
like his skill set, does his skill set go up at all?
Well, if you take his skill set from the Bible, what do we know he can do?
I was going to say, what's his skill set from the Bible?
Food, he can walk on water.
He can multiply food, he can
He
walk
can
on water.
resurrect after, was it 3 days or something like that?
Resurrect himself, yeah, so he's like Deadpool.
Yeah, a bit like...
He'll come back to life, seeing he's like burn him and stuff to kill him.
If we take it, obviously, face value. So that's 3 powers.
Gotta turn the other cheek.
Walking on water, multiplying food, and he can heal people, so that's pretty cool.
He performs miracles in general, though. What constitutes as a miracle?
The problem is his miracles weren't like...
They're a bit ambiguous, aren't they?
They were shit.
They were pretty
In the nicest way. I mean, don't get me wrong, the food thing's pretty cool. The healing people's cool. Walking on water...
Yeah. Walking on water, I mean, it's called ice. It's not that big.
We have boats, it's fine. We can get that fast.
Yeah.
How fast can Jesus run? He's not going to run across the fucking ocean, is
Yeah.
So,
we got ice skating
he
as
doesn't
well.
have superhuman speed. You can't use any kind of projectile unless he plans on like spawning bread and throwing them at people. And the bread in the old days, man, it was mostly like flour and water, so it'd be pretty bloody hard.
He's not very good with technology because of when he was born, but at the same time, he's a dab-hander, like a carpenter. Maybe he's like the Magneto of wood.
I suppose if you take
control wood in general.
But the question is, he's never used it with a miracle of some sort, so it's not like he can craft a baseball bat. Maybe he could multiply the baseball bats?
Maybe craft it and multiply it, yeah. But what are you going to do with a room full of baseball bats, though? Give them to your followers, I guess. Army followers of baseball bats.
Well, you crack every single one of them off somebody, so if you're fighting like an impossible thing and you have the strength to break a baseball bat over someone, at least you've got tons to use.
True. But that's the thing though, actually, you were talking about Jesus, he's going to have all these homies behind him.
His disciples.
Yeah, well not even just his disciples, he's going to have all his homies following Christianity in general.
So what you're saying is the world versus the crow, because that's kind of unfair.
Not the world, a good portion of the world, but the real devout followers. Like all the Vatican is going to be like his generals.
What the fuck's the Pope going to do? Get him! He's going to literally like...
Well, yeah, I didn't say it'd be a hard... Yeah, he could bat down all them pretty easy, but, it's going to... I mean, I don't know the crow's powers, though. Is he going to take a lot of his energy, knocking down all these old men on the way?
Well, first of all, the crow...
Grabbing all the little boys out of their hands and stuff,
It's not... from what I can remember from the film, that was quite some time ago. I haven't seen any of the prequels properly that I can remember off by heart, but obviously base his powers... he's pretty much impervious to damage. He can grab people and obviously...
He's impervious to damage. Pain. So he gets hit and he just can't, or is he just can take a lot, Superman level?
In the film he got shot off a table by multiple mobsters, with all sorts of weapons. So he fell off the table, disappeared. So he can literally
But did he actually get shot though? Well, okay, not the actor, not Brandon Lee.
Technically, yes. If you count it, yes.
Yes, he got shot. He went in him and that, and then he just regenerated.
In both senses, except the one.
So it's not that they bounced off him or something.
No, he took the hits and then he hit the deck and disappeared.
Okay, so it's more like a Deadpool kind of thing.
So he can use like localized kind of teleportation.
This is the thing, I want to really break this down. We need to figure out who would win in a fight between these two.
So he
need to know his powers.
He also did this one thing in the film where he made like some bad guy feel a dying person's last moments on Earth. So like 30 hours of agony, we're talking rape and stab wounds and everything like that, horrible pain until she died, pretty much bleeding out internally.
So he could just go around like touching all these people and
make
grab
you by the face and make you feel someone else's pain. So imagine if you put Jesus through like
his own crucifixion again,
a couple of hundred times, over as many seconds. So that's one thing. You could probably like fuck his brain up using that.
Are they actually there for that amount of time, or was it just go through that amount of time in a second?
You only saw him in the film. I've literally put 30 hours of pain in like a split of a couple of seconds to the dude.
So he started doing this, and then he went
fit and die.
Oh yeah, so you saw it from beginning to end what he was going through, kind of.
Well, so
it was in that moment he was
grab his face and go, 30 hours of pain, all for you. And you see flashes of like the things the last went through, and he just literally within 5 seconds of transferring.
Okay, yeah.
He was dead.
So it happened in that 5 seconds.
In that 5 seconds, or
yeah.
So if we take that
like Ghost Rider,
you can make everyone feel the suffering.
Feel my their pain, or something like that.
No, just look into my eyes.
Look into my eyes. Don't look around the eyes. Look into my eyes.
You're undead. Well, you're undead.
You're undead. I was still a fan of the Ghost Rider film. I haven't seen the second one still. I heard it's crazy.
I don't remember actually seeing it. There's still Cage in it.
It still has Cage in it, but apparently it's one of the other directors where they just went balls to the wall with it, more so rather than... But Ghost Rider was a bit crazy in the comics, so it was a bit more balls to the wall. It was a bit tame.
In the Blade comics, they're crazy.
You saw that they announced who the new Blade is, didn't you? That they're going to do a new film and they announced the guy.
Wasn't the guy from Marvel? Was it someone else?
What? No, it is someone from Blade is a Marvel film. It's going into the MCU.
Was the guy who plays him? Was he another guy from? Was he another Marvel actor? Or was he just?
No, it's going to be in the MCU, so it's not in the. But
because obviously, if you remember the cartoon, the Blade was around when the Man Spider thing happened.
Yeah, he kind of is in Marvel already, but not really. He was just like one of the main bad guys / henchmen in the Luke Cage program.
Not that much,
but that.
Obviously being like a kind of ambiguous biker with a sword in the old cartoons is all I remember.
Yeah, the film's going to be that, but the actual guy playing them now is just some kind of random and more so. I swear he's got Prince in his name, that's what I remember.
Okay.
I don't want to make an attempt at his name because it will sound racist.
Yeah, please don't.
I probably shouldn't do.
So we'll just call him the gentleman who's playing Blade.
The gentleman who's playing Blade.
Prince, but Prince turned himself into a symbol, so it can't be him.
Prince turned himself into a symbol. So this Mr. Chip just seems everybody only wants to discuss me.
Don't please.
He did turn himself into a symbol though, you're right.
That's why he was the artist calling him as Prince. I think he was being sued or something. I think that was the reason. I can't remember.
Oh, God knows. God knows. People are called Prince and stuff anyway. I think he was just a weirdo.
No, that's a very popular name.
That's what I'm saying. People are called Prince anyway, so he shouldn't have been getting sued for it.
No, I think it was...
I mean, so people should get sued for having that name, but I don't think that happened.
Oh, yeah.
It's a fucking dumb name.
But you're not exactly going to meet some random person and go, his first name is Prince, his last name is Albert. Poor choice of Prince, of course.
Unless his name was Prince Ali, I wouldn't be into it. Prince Ali, Ali, Baba.
Actually, I think we had a book. It's basically on the Aladdin kind of story.
Like a cheap one.
Yeah, but it had two genies in it. It had a green genie from a ring and the genie of the lamp, the blue one.
Oh, feuding genies.
No, they were cooperative sort of. The green genie was like weak ass compared to the blue one, but that kind of like, what the? This is so you don't get sued, isn't it? You change the story slightly.
Yeah.
It's like, well, we have two genies now. Haha. Better than Disney Plus.
It was like a Romeo and Juliet love story behind it. Between the genies.
I mean, the genie was technically genderless.
Yeah, there you go. It's a future genie, of course it's going to be gender neutral. Of course it is, it's from the way of future, and we all know that makes sense, and the future people would know it too.
Was the genie in the old cartoon referred to as him?
I don't know, to be fair, no. I mean...
But these days, it was like...
Never saw a bulge, anyway. And
he had the tail, so you've got to count that. The wispy thing, didn't he?
I can't remember. I remember wasn't he the originator of the man bun? Or that just
the top knot?
man
Technically did
yeah.
have the top knot there, but
Feels like one of them things I might just be remembering wrong as well, though.
But then
I don't know.
remember like seeing old films like in that kind of that part of the world, the east part of the world, where literally they just have like a single plaque coming from the top of their head.
Like
very popular.
Chinese, like, what's the word? Like the old classic kind of China, like the dynasties and all that.
Yeah.
They always had that like back. Yeah.
Ponytail.
Yeah, that's why like you just get called like samurais and stuff, and I had it. They go for the samurai style. It's like, it's racist, but okay.
Yeah, but I had hands down with that, like some of these awesome kind of fan shit. Well, looks cool, doesn't it? We look like garbage bags.
We completely forgot about the crow and stuff.
Yeah, we got massively off topic. Thinking back to the powers, basically.
Yeah, the powers, we need to work this out still.
Jesus has defensive powers, the crow has some attacks and movement powers.
So what does he actually do attack-wise then?
He uses guns and knives, and I think he kills one person to kill himself.
So he could, if he has like quite a lot of energy too, if he's like semi-undead from the sounds of it, then he should be able to mow down a lot of these cardinals and the vicars and stuff till they're all banding towards Jesus, so we can get to the main boss at least.
We didn't seem to be too exertive, so how do we know he's just not quite like... He was quite... I mean, he could move quickly with the shadows and all that, but he didn't do anything like overly...
So he's more likely to sneak into...
It was like he was very much human, but he could do... Like he could be shot and...
Sneaky.
You could what about the place? Look, and obviously you can like insert pain into your head.
So he is sneaky.
He is, so he has movement ability and attack ability.
He sounds more like an emo Batman. That's what it sounds like. One more emo Batman.
To be fair, actually, he was quite depressing shit.
Did his parents die?
No, he and his missus died.
Oh.
The crow's dead.
Oh, so he's already got the undead powers.
Risen also.
Oh,
yeah.
So this is a perfect fight then, in that case, a fight of the two resurrected people.
One based on trying to redeem humanity, the other one based on revenge.
Yeah, so they're both post-resurrection we're talking about, aren't we? So, yeah, they're both mastered their powers.
They both have respawned, yes.
Yeah. But the difference is, though, can Jesus respawn over and over? I imagine he can. He would just be coming back down to this world to fight. He's coming back down to this arena, this boxing...
The problem is...
Imagine like an arena, like an octagon is where this is happening. So Jesus come down in the earthly realm. He's in fighting mode against the crow. Should it be in an octagon, or should we have it that they just meet up randomly?
I think it'd be more of like a coliseum, or maybe like a kind of like a vacant ground, so there's nothing around that they can use to gain any kind of advantage. So we'll make it the fairest fight possible.
Do they start in certain places like you would on, say, Tekken, or they just, like, they've been told to come here, then they come and one sneaks up on the other one?
Basically, they're both walking to the same place at the same time.
Okay, so it's like Tekken.
They're waiting for them.
They come in to start, they square up, round one, let's just fight to the death.
Yeah, and then obviously Jesus throws his hammer and kicks off from there.
Jesus throws his hammer?
Yeah, he's a carpenter, isn't he?
Oh, okay, I thought we were talking like Thor then.
Well, they'd be pretty messed up. I got Thor and Jesus mixed up. Which one had the hammer?
It stands to reason, though, that, all religions are based on different things. So Jesus, the real Jesus, might have had an actual Thor hammer. That's why they thought he was a carpenter to begin with. He was just like, this is just my little chisel for my plane. Really, it was moulding here. What?
I wonder if they used his own hammer to nail him to the cross then.
Maybe.
If he did have a hammer, of course. I didn't, because Border ate it.
It's a straight up fight between the crow and Jesus, though.
Basically,
there's nothing to manipulate in the area.
We're talking like, the only thing that the crow has a slight close quarters combat edge in regards to obviously the pain ability and the pretty much long distance advantage of not taking damage.
I think it should just happen like in a random place, so then there are things to hide behind and all that.
Nothing to really tell about the place. Obviously, the crow in the film I saw demonstrated.
Have you seen like a giant city?
Strength. He wasn't super strong or anything like that. We're not talking like so we're talking pretty much man strength versus like old carpenter man strength.
Ye old carpenter man.
Yeah, the area.
So like in a giant city with all different like things around. So there's all different types of environments around. Like in the game, you got like the wooded bit, you got the city bit, you got the desert bit, you got the bog bit. I don't know.
Very fantasy-like, isn't it?
Yeah. But this can go forward like this now, though. We've worked it out now. It can go forward.
So ultimately, the crow would win.
You reckon the crow would win then? Sneaky around.
The problem is, though, once again, if Jesus could really, keep coming back, depending on it's going to be 3 days, and they're probably going to have to fight again.
That's the only thing. It would happen.
It would be a paradox.
But
an event that just can't end.
But wouldn't his body just be there though? And then he's just like, okay, as soon as he won, he would realise, okay, nothing's happening. Like, he wouldn't just get beamed out as the winner. So he would be like, I'm going to chop off his body then now, get him to that point.
To be fair, I mean, Jesus did take over his old body as it disappeared, assuming
Yeah.
fixed it and healed it and blah, blah, blah.
This is a fight to the death. At the very least, if
How
he
far
can...
does his healing go? Can he be cut up into multiple pieces and then magically stick back together? Obviously, we're talking magic here.
But then he's the son of God as well. Can he just make a new one? I feel like he can just make a new one. Or pop into another person's body.
If we take God's stats into consideration.
Exactly. They're one and the same, aren't they, apparently?
Bam, body.
You know what? I feel like that would be the case.
Yeah, but let's just say that God couldn't get involved.
Okay, God's ruled out of this. Yeah,
So we'll just say it as like, we put it into perspective. It's like almost as if the devil is sending himself a general, and so is God. And obviously, the first battle was Jesus. So
naturally, the devil would send a crow.
Yeah, throwing up big players there. I mean, I'm surprised he didn't use Spawn. He's pretty badass hell general.
What, Spawn?
Yeah, Spawn.
Yeah, that's more the kind of thing you'd throw at, not the crow.
I suppose he just wanted to get rid of him and just go.
Yeah.
And then surprisingly, he wins alone. Shit.
What, the crow?
Yeah, of course he'd win.
I don't know if he can keep coming back, Jesus, over and over and over. I reckon Jesus might have. But then again, as much as he can come back, what's he ever going to do?
He'd mind crucify him every single time. He's like, game over. Crucified in the mind 1,000 times over.
But by the time it would take to kill... So, if he could just take over another body each time, it'd be infinite. So, eventually the crow's going to die of old age.
When Jesus turns the other cheek, is he like immune for a bit? Is he like invincible? Is that possible?
Maybe.
It's just like, Jesus, like turns like a shield or something like that, We're obviously talking...
Actually, we said taking God's powers out of it as well, so he can't keep coming back. So, yeah, I reckon you're right. The crow probably would win.
Technically, if you take like some bits and bobs from the Bible, God, the Holy Ghost, and Jesus are the same people, same person.
That's the debate, anything.
Holy Jesus.
KB Comedy Inc. presents
That is very funny.
The Babyface and the Goth.
What the fuck is that? North Korea.
Babyface
And the Goth.
I got something to do. I got to go do boom, boom, boom.